the 99th minute, the 100th minute, the 101st minute, and the 95th minute. These are minutes in the game where Manchester United have conceded in their last 5 fixtures. Manchester United have a game management problem. Manchester United struggle to see out games and manage a comfortable win. And obviously, this is coming after yesterday's game where they booked themselves a ticket for the FA Cup final against Manchester City at the end of the season. I did a poll in my community tab, which I'll put up on screen, and asked you guys who you think is going to win the FA Cup. And a lot of you said, and rightly so, you said City would win the FA Cup. But, yes, Manchester United went through. Manchester United were 3-0 up against Championship side Coventry. So how did Coventry get a last-minute extra-time winner ruled out for offside, and how did Manchester United win on penalties? And that's just down to their game management. They struggle to see out games. If you look at the stats, they keep leaking late goals like Brentford, Chelsea, Coventry, and even Liverpool to some extent. Like, it wasn't that late, but it was still decently late on in the game. They've given away 4 penalties in their last 4 games, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, the way they play doesn't make any sense. There's like no authority in their team. They don't have a clear leader. They don't know how to manage the game, and it's just every time they get the ball, they look up to try score a goal, which is great. It's great. You want to see your team attacking. You want to see your team going for the win. But oh my word! At some point, you have to think to yourself, this isn't worth it. Like, we'll just sit here with the lead we have, and we'll see this game out. Especially yesterday, 3-0 up against a Championship team. 3-0 up. 3-0 up in the 71st minute. Well, the 70th minute. 3-1 up in the 71st minute. 3-2 up in the 90th minute. And then they give away a stupid penalty to give Coventry a lifeline and give them a chance to level the game, which they did. And it was a great performance from Coventry. It was a very, very impressive performance. I thought they played very well, and especially across extra time, I think they were the better team. Ellis Sims got very unlucky to not score after hitting the inside of the crossbar. Haji Wright he just hit a shot just wide of the goal in extra time as well. Obviously the penalties, O'Hare's penalty, and I can't remember the other guy that missed. I can't remember his name. But yeah, both their penalties were awful. And Manchester United got lucky, and Manchester United should count themselves very, very lucky, because that was almost one of the most embarrassing games of football I've ever watched, and that's not even me saying that from a biased point of view. And it is a common theme. Like I said, you look at the minutes that they've conceded goals in their last games. You look at the amount of penalties they're giving away. They haven't had a clean sheet in 6 games, and there's a problem. There is a problem at Man United. Is it that they've got a lack of footballing identity? Is it the fact they've got a lack of leaders? Is it the fact that they don't actually have a working midfield unit? And you might be saying, how don't they have a working midfield unit? Like, they've got players like Bruno, Kobe Mainoo, Casemiro, Scott McTominay, Ericsson, Mount. But you watch a lot of these players play. I think Casemiro is really showing his age this season. He moves like a truck, and half the time people just go around him like he's not even there. Mainoo, obviously a good player, but way, way too young to obviously have to have all the pressure on his back. So, Scott McTominay, Scott McTominay is good at scoring goals, but is he a good midfielder? No. I never ever see Scott McTominay praised for doing his job. Scott McTominay gets praised for scoring goals, which is great. Hardest thing you can do in the game. but he's never ever praised for doing his job as a midfielder, and that says a lot about him as a player and the choices that managers make playing him in that position. Bruno, probably the most petulant football player I've ever watched play. If it's not going his way, he'll throw a tantrum. He's very much prone to disappearing in big games, and just games in general. Not a reliable and consistent player, and definitely not captain material. Good player on his day, but nothing more than that, in my opinion. Eriksen, past it. Doesn't have the legs on him anymore, unfortunately. Mount, fraud. Awful. Never fit. Terrible footballer. Well, that might be a bit hyperbolic, but I don't rate Mount, especially this version of Mount that we're seeing. Amrabat, terrible. Basically Casemiro, but worse. Basically everything bad I said about Casemiro, but 10 times worse. And that is probably the main issue that I see. They get cooked in transition so often. Especially that Chelsea game. I was watching that Chelsea game, and it's a similar problem with Chelsea. Teams just bypass their midfield. They play like that. They have a back line and a front three, and that is it. The teams will just go straight through that midfield, no questions asked. And that's why in the game against Chelsea, which obviously they ended up losing, giving away two late goals to Cole Palmer, one of them being a stupid penalty to give away from Dalot, other one being a deflected shot off McTominay, which I think Dalot definitely should have blocked as well. You watch that game and it looked like neither team were playing with a midfield, because United's midfield is non-existent. Same with Chelsea, but obviously they're not the topic of today's video. Man United's midfield is non-existent. Rashford doesn't do enough to track back. Him and Antony are quite lazy and lethargic in the way they carry themselves on the pitch. You've obviously got Wan-Bissaka, very good one-on-one defender. His positional awareness sometimes likes to play people on side, doesn't really always keep the line, sort of plays with his own line, can be quite detrimental to his all-round play. Dalot, I don't think Dalot's great. Every time I've never watched Dalot and thought, yes, this guy's quality. Martinez, always injured. Maguire, I think he's turned a corner for United at the moment. He's not great, but he's definitely improved since obviously his time under Ole. Lindelof again gets played out of position a lot because they've never got a fit fullback. Malassi has actually vanished off the face of the earth. Obviously they cancelled Reguilon's loan because they didn't think they needed him. Shaw injured all the time as well. Okay, there's having an injury crisis, and you can always sympathise with a club when they have an injury crisis, but when the same players, Mount, Martinez, Shaw, Malacia, are always injured, then it's not an injury crisis. It is just you having an injury-prone squad that you don't want to sort out. You've either got a poor medical team, or you've just got players that cannot be bothered and don't care for staying fit. And that is then on the club. That is not just poor luck. That is on the club. And yeah, they've got attitude problems on the pitch, on and off the pitch. United 100%. They've got a midfield that are non-existent 9 times out of 10, and they get cooked in transition a lot. Obviously Casemiro doesn't ever check his mirrors, so he gets his pockets picked on multiple occasions. I thought when we beat them 3-1 in the derby a few months ago, I thought he was awful. I thought he was honking, and a lot of what I've watched of him this season, he hasn't been great. I don't think he's been overly good for United, considering the amount of money that they paid for him, and considering his reputation and his performances at Real Madrid. Obviously, he was decent last season. He was quite good, but he's never been up to that scratch. Up to scratch of and up to a level he used to be performing at. So I don't understand why people have gassed the signing of him as much as they have. But especially this season, he's been awful. And obviously they've just got defenders that are never fit, and they've got a goalkeeper that is very, very hit or miss. But you know, a lot of the top teams at the moment have goalkeepers that can be seen as quite inconsistent and quite prone to a mistake or two and a lapse in judgment. So that's not really anything you can really judge them for, or like give them too much stick for, because it's definitely an upgrade on who they had in goal last season, in a being able to play with your feet manner, of coming out and claiming crosses and stuff, like, and even penalties for it, like, you know, Onana actually saves penalties, so, you know, they've improved in some areas, but I still just feel like they're going backwards, or maybe not even backwards, but they're not moving, like, at all. The handbrake is on. Like, I don't see what the plan is. I don't understand what Ten Hag's vision is. I don't see it. I don't see them progressing. I don't see them becoming the old Man United again. And people say, "Oh, sack Ten Hag, bring in a new manager." But it's a repeated cycle with Manchester United. It is the same thing every time. It is bring in a new manager, or the glory days are coming back. Few good wins, bam, back to playing awful, back to looking like all the players couldn't care. Then it's sack him, bring in this person. Endless cycle, endless cycle, because there are so many different things wrong with the club that need addressing, but they just find it easier to be like, no, we're just going to sack this manager or bin off this player, and it'll fix the problem. And it, you know, I don't see it happening. Obviously, they still do have the chance to win the FA Cup. I'm confident that City will win it, but they're always in with a good chance. And if they do win it, obviously that's 2 bits of silverware in 2 seasons for Ten Hag, so that's not that bad going if you just look at a silverware standpoint. But the football he plays, the results that he gets, and some of the embarrassing performances that I've seen Manchester United put in under him, I do struggle to see them becoming what they used to be and actually being a competent football club again. Especially in the standards which Manchester United should be held to. But, you know, if they want to stay bad forever, I'm not going to complain. But I can understand why a lot of fans are very unhappy with the club and the way everything's going, because they're embarrassing. I think Rashford's one of the most embarrassing football players I've ever watched. Like, some of the performances that guy puts in are actually scary bad. And I would also think that if Bruno played for my club, I would actually hate my life. Like, he seems like the most frustrating person to watch as a supporter of a club. But that's kind of all I really have to say on United. Comment down below what you think Manchester United's problems are, where you think it's going wrong for United, and where you think it can be sort of the problems can be solved, and what the solutions are. Like the video if you enjoyed. Also, comment down below who you think is going to win the FA Cup. I know I ran the poll, but I'd like to hear a bit more of an in-depth answer of who you think is going to win the FA Cup and why. What did you think of the semi-finals? I thought, you know, both games were very good in different ways. And obviously, like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I know a lot of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so, you know, if you've watched like 2 or 3 now and they keep coming up in your recommendations, you might as well subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, helps me produce better content, shows me that I'm doing things right, I'm doing what people want to see. But yeah, with all that being said, I've been Nathan, and I'll see you in the next one.
Shut down cases, they belly dots to the can't see faces, chasing the bad guy chase it. You don't wanna be the one like Ace and like GTA trying to turn them out wasted. Aye, tell a bad bitch come break it, body come mad, come shake it, then get back to the basics, bro, done shut down cases, they belly dots to the